Hi, I'm Darla Beam with DB Leadership. Welcome back. It's week 12, and we are talking about containers. So up until now, we've been kind of working on our core. We've been laying the groundwork with awareness discussions and how to be present, right? That's kind of the groundwork piece, right? Where we're going today is we're going to begin talking about containers, which is the foundation with which we build our metaphorical spiritual house. Okay, and we're going to be talking about that for a while. Today, we're going to have a setup conversation. All right, so what is a container? A container is a metaphorical basket, per se, that holds all of the experiences of our lives. It's like one of those woven baskets that when I visited Africa, the women carried, they carried everything, including water on top of their heads in the basket, all right? And each of those reeds that they wove together, right, the better they wove it together, the tighter, the more intentional they wove the container, the more they could hold in those baskets, whether it was fruits or vegetables or even water, right? Something that's so liquid and movable, right? So each one of these reeds in our spiritual metaphorical basket is woven together tightly with things like values or boundaries or intentions and agreements. That's what each reed is made of, okay? And when we weave them together, just like with that metaphorical, just like with the basket the women carry on their heads, when we intentionally weave together the container of our relationships or other containers in our lives, the better our integrity of our container and the stronger our relationships are, our experiences are. Okay. So let's talk about the two different kinds of containers. We have relationship containers, and then we have sort of other containers, everything else. Let's start with relationship containers. You have relationship containers, whether you're conscious of it or not, okay, whether you're consciously choosing it or not, you have containers. You are creating containers, or you have created them. That's in your relationship with your parents, with your partner, with your children, with your boss at work, with your employees. There are relationship containers, and the things that make up the container, right, are some of these things that I've already referenced, but they can also be, agreements that are specific to that relationship. All right, so it could be something like, I have an agreement with my partner that we split all of the work, all of the finances. Those are agreements and a part of what makes the container. And in each container, and that's just one, that might be one reed in the container, okay? So that's relationship, that's an example of relationship containers and reeds that make up those containers. And we have other containers like meetings that we hold or groups that we sit in the front of the room and lead, okay? There are many, many other containers. And within those containers, I have relationship containers with myself, right? How I conduct myself. And we'll talk about that a little bit more later, but just right now, just stay with me. Relationship containers and other containers, all right? And other containers like meetings could consist of like goals, outcomes, intentions. And yes, there definitely could be values and some of the other things that are in relationship containers, because if you're having a meeting, there are other people in the room. So there's also going to be a little overlap of relationship containers. Those are the two different kinds of containers, all right? So what happens is when we don't choose to weave them together consciously, the integrity of the basket, the container is not tight, right? And so the integrity of the basket is compromised. And eventually the liquid, the experiences that we have, the relationship stuff can start to leak out into what I call a leaky container, okay? And when that happens, right, we start to see impact in relationships, at work, in meetings. You've sat in those meetings before where there's a leaky container and it just smells bad in the room and no one's saying anything. The meeting kind of falls apart or the project falls apart, right? So And we're all sort of like, I don't really understand why. This is why. Weaving intentional, strong containers is how we create success in our lives, in our experiences, in our relationships with other people. Okay. So, like I said, we're going to be talking a lot about this. And I just want us to start with just a little simple practice this week. Okay. Just bringing awareness to what your container is like. Okay. So, all you have to do, here's your challenge, here's your practice, is just sit down with one other person and have a conversation. What do you think our container consists of? Bring conscious awareness to your container and just kind of chat about how it's working, what's not working. Okay. And we're going to talk more about the specifics of each read in the next few weeks. But I just want you to play with this. And I really want you to give me some feedback, reach out with any questions or any help that you might need. I'm really looking forward to hearing from you. And I look forward to chatting with you in next week, week 13. Have an amazing, present, and grateful week. Take care.